Okay, welcome back to another episode of the 206 Curve. The vibes are up now. Okay, we kind of ended the last episode. We're like, we slugged through Houston. We got a series win. I guess that's cool. Still 4-8. No, vibes are up. This is going to be a great episode. We have a lot to unpack. We had a long road trip, so we're going to recap all of those games and then look ahead. Try to have a little bit of more consistent schedule. We've been both traveling around, so it's been good to finally just hit record and talk about the success that the ball club has been up to lately. Avery, how's it going, man?
It's going great. I just moved back home, just in time for my mom to sell the house in a couple of weeks. So I'll be moving again somewhere else, just in time for me to start my new job where I go to a different city, different town around the state, living out of a suitcase. So I'm gonna be the traveling podcaster for
I,
for the rest of the summer.
I love it. I love it. I love it. All righty. Well, so let's get right into it. So when we left our audience last, Randy Rosarena a walk-off walk in a game that we really shouldn't have won. The Mariners were looking bleak without Victor Robles and Ryan Bliss. The bullpen kind of looked pieced together, and we were really struggling. That being said, we welcomed in the AL West leading Texas Rangers, and we did not disappoint at home. We dominated from start to finish. Funny thing is, before we get into each game, the Texas Rangers had the bases loaded in each game and only allowed our pitching staff only allowed one run in that entire set. So each game they started the game bases loaded and only one run came across the score. And I don't even think it was an earned run. It might have been, but it was very, very interesting just to see us really flip the switch there.
Yeah, our bullpen's weird. Our pitching staff as a whole is really weird. It feels like the most average pitching staff we you can imagine. It's just like, yeah, they're going to be really good at times, and they're also going to be awful at times.
Right.
Uh, I can't really pinpoint when they're gonna, be clutch and when they're just gonna, d just not even show up.
No,
This is
that's
what normal fan bases deal with on a day to day.
I guess so, but it's always good to know that we have the upside as well because we know what these guys can accomplish. And this first game that we're going to recap is kind of an interesting pitching matchup because you had Jacob deGrom coming off of the Tommy John surgery, trying to solidify himself in the Texas rotation. But you also had Bryce Miller, who didn't have the best first two outings against Sacramento and then against San Fran. So it was interesting to kind of see how they were going to go at each other. And to be honest, the Mariners tagged DeGrom quickly after Jorge Polanco and Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy Tellez is here. His first homer as a Mariner, put him up quickly 2-0. And then, yeah, they they battled back via Josh Jung homer. But then Cal Raleigh, the torpedo bat had arrived, and he crushed one to right center. And we ended up winning that game 3-5. Bryce Miller went 5 innings, 2 hits, 1 run. It was earned. Like I said, in the bases loaded situation, he got out of in the first inning. He had 3 walks, which is but he had 5 Ks. So a really solid outing from him.
Yeah, yeah. That was kind of what we saw from Bryce Miller last year. It's been up and down for him this year, though. His whip is unusually high. Last year it was under one for the entire season. It was amazing. And this year it's up a bit, but it's still fine. He's looked good. He hasn't looked great. You could say that with a bunch of guys on our rotation, though. Just the pitching staff as a whole again. Uh, but it was nice to see DeGrom back on the mound, but it was also nice to see us score some runs off of him. Um, they did settle in. He did settle in, and we didn't score again until the eighth, really. But that was just a good baseball game by the crew.
Yeah,
Just
no, it
some
was.
offense, some timely hitting, some good pitching. Nothing more, much more you could ask for there.
It was, and Texas does have a really solid lineup start to finish. I mean, I just really think so. Maybe it's because we see them a lot, but really 1 through 9, it's like, damn, they can get a hit, they can pop a homer. So we got into some situations there where it was kind of dicey. But Andres Munoz continued; he got his fifth save of the year, and his ERA is still at 0. So we move forward to game number 2 of that series, and it was all Mariners. And Texas did score in the first inning. That was when they had the bases loaded. So they did score 1 run here. We had Brian Wu on the mound, and he kind of had the same command issues in the first inning. And this was another guy where you're like, okay, well, he's got to have a good start as well, to really kind of get into his groove here. So yeah, so they got the scoring started. However, Julio Rodriguez triples, and scores JP Crawford, Luke Raley doubles, and Randy Arozarena scores. And of course, who else but Cal Raleigh, another homer. And the Mariners were just in the driver's seat all day long. They won this game 9-2. Brian Wu, 7 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Kumar Rocker kind of teetering on we may be a bust category. He had another rocky outing, 3 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs. Three of them were earned, 2 walks and 2 Ks. His ERA sits at 7.94 on the year.
Definitely, that was Brian Woo's best start of the season. His last start that we're going to get to against Toronto probably rivals it, but uh, as a whole, really good start to the year for Brian Woo. Um, it's a little worse than what he was doing last year. It's not what I was expecting him to get off to the start this year. I thought he was going to be a dark horse for the Cy Young. He could still do it. He hasn't looked super sharp, but he hasn't looked bad. He's looked good. And he's a perfect guy to have in your rotation. Um, when you have guys like Luis Castillo not pitching as well as you'd like, or George Kirby out, and then you having to figure out that fifth spot in the rotation. Um, but great, great game by your Seattle Mariners. Julio had a great game finally.
Absolutely.
Uh, it's just Cal is just on a mission, a one-man mission. It's Rowdy Tellez gets a hit. We'll get more to Rowdy when we get to this Toronto series. But
True.
yeah, it's just that right around this time is when the Mariners really started to look like a real threat as a baseball team. Like
Yeah,
the start that they got off to this year was pathetic. It got everybody just down in the dumps, like, oh my gosh,
including
we
us.
got to fire everybody.
Yeah,
But the last episode, I was like, this offense needs to figure it out, or else we're gonna have to talk about which starting pitcher we're gonna trade. But
right.
now that offense really turning it around, and it started with this series.
No, for sure. And it was nice to put up a 9 spot at home. I'm glad that they're starting to get into their environment because we're going to be playing there 80 times a year. So we better get used to it. All right, now time to go for the sweep on a Sunday. We have our ace, Logan Gilbert, but they also have their ace, Nathan Eovaldi, on the mound. And it was as advertised, it was a pitching duel. It kind of eased into a pitching duel, though, because in the bottom of the first, Cal Raleigh, a 2-run homer, gives us an early 2-0 lead. And Logan Gilbert surrenders a just dead center home run to this guy named Dustin Harris. Never heard of bro. But then it kind of just simmered into the 6th inning where bases loaded. Randy was hit by a pitch. Randy Rosarena is an absolute terror when the bases are loaded. He can take a walk. He can hit by pitch, grand slam. He can do whatever when the bases are loaded. It is guaranteed that an RBI is being scored. He has plenty of he's hitting a perfect spot in the order right there, batting fifth, because he's an absolute monster with the bases loaded. And it is always a joy to watch him approach those at bats. I feel like with Randy, too, you're seeing a lot more plate discipline out of him. You're seeing less of those strikeouts that you saw the second half of last year when we acquired him. You're seeing a lot more plate discipline, a lot more walks. It seems like even in our losses, he's the one that's getting on base, and really, hitting a double, hitting a single, whatever, keeping us going. So it seems like he's really assimilated well into this lineup. And the Mariners took this one and swept the division-leading Rangers 3-1 with Andres Munoz, his sixth save on the year, and he has not let up a run yet all season. So what a win, what a sweep, what a way to start, what a way to cap off the road trip, or sorry, cap off the homestand before the road trip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was a much needed sweep. Really just saying, hey, no, we're gonna be here. We're gonna contend for this division. We're gonna win this division this year. Everybody else also has gotten off to a pretty bad start. Um, obviously, like the Angels and the A's aren't gonna really stick around for very long. So Houston looks bad. Texas looks okay. Seattle's looking like the best team right now. Like they look really good. Everybody else looks like they're kind of struggling, which is nice, considering that our lineup is what our lineup is. But when you got Logan Gilbert looking like the best pitcher in baseball, that helps when he's on the mound. Of course, we scored the least amount of runs the series when he's on the mound,
Yeah,
but maybe that's perfect timing because he's going to give up the least amount of runs as well. So
absolutely.
just another great ball game. Just a three straight games where the team just looks really good. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we set our sights on a really really long road trip. I know we said we were going to record at the end of the Cincinnati series, but I said, you know what? Let's just cap it off with Toronto and record after that. It makes sense logistically. Just have to work it out with our schedule and the Mariners' schedule. But we head into Cincy, Jackie Robinson Day, aka Avery's favorite day of the year, and we fall flat. But it wasn't anything about the offense because Dylan Moore got us started with a homer to center field. He
Your
also
boy.
my boy, we'll get to him in a little bit. He scored another run, so he was all of our offense. Gavin Lux freaking went 4 for 4. Austin Hayes in his Reds debut absolutely crushed a 3-run homer. Luis just didn't have it today. This is Luis M, by the way. We don't need to refer to any other Luis
No Pebble
Castillos.
talk.
Yep. So he went four and a third innings, 7 hits, 6 runs. They were earned, 4 walks and 3 Ks. Just did not have the command. And this is something that we've seen with Luis Castillo across the years. Is he'll have a couple good outings, but sometimes when he doesn't have his command, the walks start to add up, and he starts. He's not getting bombed. He let up 1 home run, but just kind of compounds on him. He's still a great pitcher. I love to have him in the rotation. But this one was just one where the Reds were coming in hot as well. They were 8-8, and we were 8-8. And their offense is tailored for their ballpark as well. Austin Hayes, what a debut for the Reds. And yeah, they took this one 8-4.
Yeah, Austin Hayes might be the best player in baseball, bro. He's been he's been insane ever since he's come back. He's hitting over 400 this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's
Um,
going to be a
y-
good. He's going to be good. I know he was traded at the deadline last year to Philly. He could also probably be a trade deadline piece for the Reds. I think the Reds are a team where they're kind of looking like us. They don't have the pitching, but they might have more of a hitting upside lineup. And I think they'll probably sell at the deadline. I find it hard to believe that they'll buy. I think they're going to want to bolster their farm. But that being said, they're still a great team. They're in the NL Central, another winnable division if you think about it. So yeah, just a tough game. Really, no notes about that one other than Luis didn't really have it. Gregory Santos, unfortunately, after this outing, he walked in a runner with the bases loaded. He did get sent down, and I think it's going to be good for him. I think he needs a change of scenery. I really see potential in him in the seventh and eighth inning of games. I just want to see him get the strikeouts he needs because I mean he was a strikeout pitcher before, and he has not recorded a strikeout as a Mariner quite yet this season. So I just think he needs to retool his arsenal a little bit in Tacoma.
hmm Yeah. Yeah, it's just a tough first game. I mean, the Reds are a high variance team. They're going to look awful at times and they're going to look fantastic at times. Kind of like the Mariners are obviously our floor is a bit higher. But yeah, just the wrong day for Luis Castillo to not have it because the Reds were on it and that's just what happens. It's baseball. We didn't look horrible. I
Right,
mean, yeah, there's that we gave up 4 runs in the fifth. Outside of that, we're playing a competitive ball game. So,
for sure.
yeah, I don't know the offense. Granted, the offense was exclusively Dylan Moore, who's looked fantastic this year, which is a huge help to this lineup considering Julio is non-existent for the most part. So it's him and Cal and Jorge Polanco essentially is the
And Randy.
offense. And Randy, yeah, sorry, and Randy. But and now the newfound Rowdy Tellez. But yeah, these games happen. I wasn't too worried about it when the game ended. I was like, we just swept Texas.
Mhm.
Team looked okay. It's just, it's a baseball loss.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it's also, I do want to note, I guess, in that game, Ben Williamson was called up and he made his major league debut. He singled on a sharp line drive to left center field. So it's nice to see some new faces and an actual third baseman playing defensively at third base, although he did not get a ball hit his way that day. He did get some action as well in the game. In the second game, he actually drove in his first run, a la Dylan Moore. Randy Rosarena started
Ooh.
it off doubling Julio in, but then Ben Williamson singled on a line drive to center field. Dylan Moore scored. JP Crawford got in on the action, which was nice. And then Cal Raleigh continues his mammoth home run streak. He hits home run number 6 to make it 4-0. And then he makes it another home run, different sides of the
Another.
plate. First, or not, I was going to say first Mariner with 100 home runs. First, first time this year where he's homered from both sides of the plate, and I really think that's a really impressive feat as a Major League Baseball player. But that is his 100th career home run. I was there for his first home run in T-Mobile Park, so it is cool to see him already slugging 100 home runs. But then the Reds kind of flirted with a little comeback here. They did have the bases loaded a few times, but the bullpen was able to get out of it. Troy Taylor came in and absolutely shit the bed. He does not have it. Like I said, needs some more time in Tacoma. But Bryce Miller had a great outing. He pitched 5 innings, 3 runs. He cut down the walks. He had 2 walks, but 8 strikeouts. He really had command of the zone. Trent Thornton came in, held down the fort. Carlos Vargas came in and held after Troy Taylor kind of let a few runs up. Spire as well with a hold. And then Andres Munoz, another clean ninth inning to win the game 5-3.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic game. Troy Taylor has an infinite ERA on the season because of this game. He hasn't
It's
pitched
tough.
since. Uh,
It's tough.
you just look at his stat line or for the season, and ERA it's just a bunch of hyphens. Like
That's tough.
it doesn't exist. I believe in our boy Troy, but yeah, maybe Bryce Miller's best start of the season. I haven't really looked at his game log, but I mean, how do you beat 5 innings, 5 base runners, 8 Ks, no runs?
For sure,
That's
and
awesome.
I think it piggybacked off his last start against Texas, so I think it's nice. And he even said himself, it took him a while for his body to get adjusted. He needed just a little bit of time after spring, so it looks like those first 2 starts where he looked a little rocky, were just kind of him adjusting to pitching. And another reminder for fans is, Bryce Miller and Brian Wu are outstanding young pitchers, but honestly, they've been working on innings restrictions. They've been working on load management, if you want to classify it that way. So they're really trying to figure out how they can allow their bodies to make 32 starts a year. So sometimes they might not have it. And it's just something we need to keep in mind. Yeah. So on to the rubber match. And this one was an absolute wild one. Okay. We're trying to kind of gauge the vibe of how the Mariners are going to be. If you remember when the Mariners made the playoffs in 2022, they were amazing in one-run games. They knew how to win. They knew how to win in extra innings. They just had that spark. And then you go to that second game in Houston or against Houston before we headed on to this road trip when we lose in extras 2-1. And you're starting to think, man, does this team have that kind of magic? It just doesn't seem like it. They don't really roll over in games, but they're not winning these tight ones. And this one, my God, what a roller coaster ride.
Yeah, this might be the season as a whole. Uh, in one game, got off to a fine start. I mean, we're down 2-0 through 3 innings, so like that's bad.
Austin
And
Hayes,
then
Reds MVP, another homer.
we come back. Hey, we score four in the fourth and the fifth. We're like, hey, okay, we're back. We're so back. And then we just collapse again, and our season's over. Fire everybody. We give up five over the seventh and eighth innings, and it's just like great. Let's just what else is on? What else do I have to do today?
Yeah.
And then you know what? Yeah, like what you said. They this reminds me of the 2022 team. They just fight and they're kind of clutch, and you know that the game's not over. They
Yeah.
they rallied. You know those home runs by Cal and Randy in the ninth inning were fucking launched. Those were no doubt about it. Just I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting them to roll over and die. I was like, they're not gonna score two. And they just with 2 swings of the bat, it's a tie ball game. Man, that was yeah. And then yeah, just blowing the doors off them in the 10th was sick.
Yeah. Well, I think that it kind of goes two and two together. I mean, you let up a grand slam to former Mariner Luke Ray, Jake Fraley in the eighth inning. Bizarro just could not find it. Not sure if he was the best option there. But this bullpen's been running on borrowed time. So it's kind of hard to find, a groove when you're using guys for different situations. So yeah, that was kind of a nail in the coffin, you would have thought. Cal Raleigh continued to homer. I mean, he had his eighth homer, and then right after Randy Rosarena, just a clutch AB hitting it on the inside corner. And like you said, an absolute nuke. He just knew it was time to clutch up. And it's one thing to tie it, and then it's another thing to go into extras with a team like this. They got Ellie De La Cruz. They got a lot of speed on the base paths, so you really got to finish this one quick. And that's exactly what the Mariners did. JP Crawford singled, and this was, I believe this was the one where Ellie kind of misplayed on the hop. He's not the best defensive shortstop whatsoever. So we capitalize on that, and then bases loaded for Randy Rosarena in the next inning, and he doubles. And he scores a couple. So yeah, we end up winning that game 11-7. Andres Munoz once again comes in, doesn't get the save, but he doesn't line up a run. Casey Legumina with a win. So yeah, we win the series. This is our third
Legume.
straight series in a row. 11-7 in extras. Just an
I
absolute
want to give a special shout out to Emerson Hancock for coming out after that first start of the season,
very
looking like
true.
maybe his career was over, and then he comes back and really, pitches a really good ball game here
Yeah.
against Cincinnati, whose offense has been hitting pretty well as of late, and just holds them to 2 runs in the first, and then just nothing for the next 4 innings. It was sick.
Well,
It showed a lot of stones there.
Well, absolutely, and it's also important to tip the cap to him because he was prepared to pitch on Friday for the opener against Toronto, and then a last-second reordering of the rotation. All of a sudden, he's pitching the day game in Cincinnati. He pitches a 5 strong innings, does let up that home run, but really just looked a lot better. He did have the same arsenal as he did against Detroit, but I think that he's going to man the ship as the fifth guy in the rotation at least for a little bit longer. Doesn't look like we have a lot of options to really turn to, and I think the Mariners want a sense of stability there. So yeah, third straight series win. We're feeling hot heading into Toronto.
Oh, do you want me to talk there?
Or you can go ahead. You can preview this one because I this
Okay.
one was one of the most miserable Mariner games yet. So
Well, yeah, what do you even say? We didn't show up to play baseball that day. I mean, the pitchers, we gave up three runs. Brian Wu had a good game, 7 innings, 3 earned runs. Thank God he got through 7 innings. This pitching situation we got going on to start this season is so weird. I feel like we're always behind the 8 ball with our relief pitchers.
mhm,
Or with our bullpen as a whole. Dan Wilson is very liberal with pulling the string on guys. Like he
yeah,
doesn't let them let go
four
pitch more
pitches.
than like
Yeah.
2 batters. It feels like, even though that's not even the rule. Um, yeah. So it feels like we're by the time if we were to ever pitch in extras, we only have like one guy, maybe 2 pitchers that can go in these extra inning games. Um, Obviously, that's besides the point of this game, but the point is Brian Wu pitching 7 innings was huge despite the loss. Really set us up for the rest of the series and the games moving forward. Casey Lawrence, you know, scoreless inning there in the eighth. It's pretty nice to see, but offensively we didn't do anything. I don't have like a play by or inning by inning
Right.
written out here, but you know, we gave up 3 early and we scored 1 early, and that was the ball game. So
It's frustrating, and then you also saw, just Dan Wilson's just inexperience as a manager. I don't think he's a bad manager. I really don't. I think the guys love him. I think he has a lot of potential, but there's some growing pains with Dan Wilson, and it's become in the bullpen, but it also has
Mhm.
become in the late inning substitutions. I know this is kind of how our roster is put out. We have a lot of good role players, guys that can step up in a few ABs, but it does not mean you have to deploy the bench in the fifth or sixth inning. And this is where all hell broke loose. We couldn't get anything going in the sixth. All of a sudden, you had Dylan Moore come in for Luke Raley, Donovan Solano come in, and Leo Rivas come in for an inning. So the guys that were due up literally were all pinch hit, and it just kind of all went to shit. Rowdy Tellez did hit a homer early, but that was really it. The Blue Jays pitching did decent holding us at bay, but it was really their lineup. God damn, they were just always getting little blue pits and things like that. They couldn't really turn it into runs later in the game, but oh my God, they were hitting the shit out of Brian Woo's fastball. And it was a little frustrating. We were on national television, albeit selective Apple TV. So it was disappointing to start the series that way because the Blue Jays are hot as well. Coming into that game, they were 11-9. So yeah, it's or no, sorry, 11-8. So yeah, it looked like it was going to be a tough series. So yeah, but that was Friday, and we're
Were you
back on
saying
route
is that was a nationally televised, untelevised game?
for sure. Because a lot of people, hey, Severance, a lot of people are buying Apple TV now, and I
I heard
will
I need
I
to
will
watch that.
I will give credit to Apple TV. They do a fantastic job. I
They
wish
do.
it was a little bit more accessible. I wish there was just more things maybe on Apple TV for me to like warrant a subscription. But yeah, they do a great job. And honestly, with the MLB, really throwing up Sunday Night Baseball up to somebody, I really hope Apple TV swoops in and takes it because then that would kind of justify me wanting to buy it. Um,
That would be awesome. That'd
yeah,
be
they do a
awesome.
great job. They do a very great job. I always find it funny when they go down to the sideline reporter in the dugout and she's wearing the AirPod Pro Maxes. I'm like, man, Apple's just dripping it out. All right, so we're back on regional television for Saturday's affair, and the Mariners got their swagger back. They go in and
Oh,
oh, I
oh.
think I got my swagger back. Anthony Santander starts the scoring, and you think, oh my God, why? Just kill me. Just shoot me. This lineup is going to kill us. Logan Gilbert did get hit around. I will say, going into that game, a lot of the Blue Jays hitters averaged about 300 against Logan Gilbert, so not his favorite team to face. And then we got a little chippy. Jose Barrios getting into it with Cal Raleigh for some reason. Cal Raleigh's like, what the hell? We'll see the John Boy probably break down at some point. But it turned out that Cal Raleigh was picking up on some tipped pitches and was, doing a duty as a team captain and relaying the signs, which is completely legal. And Jose Barrios, with his little man syndrome, got upset about that and then continued to get shelled. Cal Raleigh, the next at bat, hit a double that hit. It was a go-ahead double, and Ben Williamson scored. J.P. Crawford scored as well. But then right after, Alejandro Kirk scores Andres Jimenez, so it's 2-2. Bo Bichette then gets it going in the bottom of the sixth with a single. They just, their lineup will hit a bunch of home runs. They got Vlad, they got Santander, they got Bo Bichette. They're going to hit their home runs, but this series, all they did was hit these just sharp singles through the hole and really just station to station it. And when all hell it looked grim. It looked grim heading into the seventh, but Ben Williamson rose from the ashes and he hit his first career homer to tie the game. Oh my gosh, what an affair. We go into extras, and who else but Randy Arozarena gets us going and scores 4-3. But you think, man, we're really going to need some more runs to put this Toronto team away. Who else but Canada himself?
Who else?
Who else? Rowdy
The
Tellez,
man, the
the
mountain,
man, the myth, the legend. First of all, he shoulder checks a guy at first. I don't know who that guy was, but he ran to first and he just went bam, just back checking
Roden.
Brock Roden or whatever.
Roden. He's
Alan
like
Roden.
5'11", 225 or something like that. He's not small, but when he made contact with Rowdy Tellez, Rowdy, it didn't even look like somebody hit him. Like he was unaffected completely. But Roden hit the ground so fast, it was and he stayed there like he
And
died.
it's just the fundamental physics lesson. It's what happens when force meets an immovable object. And he just went to the floor. But that was funny. I remember texting my buddy, bases were loaded, and I said, I want Rowdy to just crush one here. Next couple pitches, he hits an absolute nuke. And the celebration, I love it. He counts it as he's rounding the base. He goes, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Albeit probably your only RBIs of the year, my man, but we will take it. Mariners
He had
win 8
three
to 4.
hits. He had three hits the whole series, one in each game, and they were each a home run.
It was great. Andres Munoz came on, did let up a run, but hey, that was the ghost runner, so it doesn't go to his ERA. He gets the win in this one, and they win 8 to 4. Absolutely a
Mm-hmm.
just a great win, just a great win. And this is another thing. We were down 3-2, could have rolled over there, and the Mariners said, "No, I want to fight this one out." Ben Williamson, who's hit 4 home runs in his amateur professional career in the minor leagues, hits one in the Rogers Center, and he was like, "That's so cool. How about we just keep doing that, Ben? I know it's going to be hard to do in T-Mobile, but let's just get that launch angle going because you hit the ball to the wall. Let's just get it up and over." I mean, I really love what I've seen from Ben Williamson so far. He's
You
exceeded my
think
expectations.
you think Blowers was sitting on his couch predicting the first career home run? That's what happened with what Matt
Matthew
Tuiasosopo
Sopo.
in
Yeah,
Toronto.
it's a nod
Um,
to Mike Blowers for sure.
that was sick. Rhea Williamson has gotten off to a pretty good start. That was definitely his best game as a pro. A 2 for 5 double and a home run, the game tying home run to allow us to even go to extras in the first place. That was awesome. Um, it's so funny. The like I don't want to besmirch Ben Williamson in any way, but like the bar is set so low
Right.
for Mariner fans and the players, especially the position the hitters. Like he by and large has not been very successful at the plate in his time at the big leagues.
Right.
He got a hit in his first couple games. He has that clutch home run. So and he's known for defense. He's looked fine at third base. So
He's great at
you
third
know,
base. He made a couple great plays that I know
hmm
no one else on the team could do. So I
he
think
does have a cannon over there, the strongest arm we've seen over there in a while. But it's just so funny. Not one You'll never see one Mariner fan being like, "Oh, another guy that can't hit." It's just like, but he's just built up so much grace off the start, like the
right.
clutch moments and whatever. I'm hoping that he can get that bat a little bit hotter. I know he's not known for the bat at all, but 670 OPS won't do it. But he has definitely been a great placeholder at third base. Uh, to at least to find some stability. If he can just hit that like clutch double or home run like once a week, I think we're
Right.
fine. We're fine.
Right.
Just play defense and
And I think his
yeah.
defense has helped us out to win games. There was a couple of plays where he took one off the glove and threw it over to Rowdy, and I think that he's perfect for the 8 hole hitter. And to be honest with you, even with our lineup at full strength, I still see him in there at third base, just because of the defense. And just depending on who's out there at the deadline, maybe you go out and get a second baseman instead. But I mean, we talked about this over and over and over again in the last episode. We needed somebody to step up and just give us a breath of fresh air, and Ben Williamson has done that. And I think he's done a very 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 good job. So yeah, heading into the rubber match of the series, we have Luis on the mound, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter if we had Luis on the mound because the Mariners got after it with their spot starter, Easton Lucas. He was seeing ghosts out there. Dylan Moore, leadoff home run. Starting at shortstop. Oh my God, JP Platoon. Woo, 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 JP Platoon. And then Cal Raleigh, of course, home runs because he just is the AL MVP at this point. And then the Mariners were just in the driver's seat, kind of let them into the game a little bit, but then Rowdy Tellez's third home run of the series put the nail in the coffin there, and we win 8-3.
Yeah, that was a fun game to watch. Dylan Moore, everyday shortstop alert. Come on, you know you want
Well,
it.
if right-handers didn't exist, maybe sure.
He's actually looked good against righties too. Obviously not as good as he is against lefties by far, but like, come on. I mean, other than the fact that JP can draw a walk, Dylan Moore can draw a walk.
He
Like,
could also looks like shit against right-handed pitching, striking out. I don't know.
okay, JP looks like shit against everybody.
I don't know, but I got to give credit where credit's due. Dylan Moore's got some pop. I honestly thought he would be a torpedo bat candidate, and I also think he should try it out because, I mean, if he's hitting this with the normal bat, imagine the torpedo. But he wins honors. He wins AL Player of the Week for his amazing series in Cincinnati and an awesome series in Toronto. He's done a very good
Well
job. I
deserved.
know I've been really critical of him, but now that he's not at third base, I think I see him in a little better light. He's not a third baseman. Ben Williamson is, but he's swinging the bat well. I like him leading off against left-handers because we do struggle as a positional group hitting against left-handers. So I like that. I like that. He just seems like, right now he's an everyday player, and he probably was willing his way into that even when we're at full strength. So credit to him. But yeah, we are 12 and 10 heading into Boston. It's just a great feeling. We've won 4 series in a row, and we stand just a game outside of Texas for first place in the American League West, and we have the 12th best record in the whole MLB, man. We went from 4 and 8 to 12 and 10, baby.
That's exactly where our front office wanted to be. Right there, lurking,
Right
dangerous.
there.
That's good enough.
Right there. But
Weird,
also,
weird pitching line. Sorry, to go back to the
yeah, for sure.
the last game, the Toronto game. Uh, Luis Castillo gave up 10 hits and 2 walks in 5 innings and only gave up 3 runs. I don't really know how that math works. He gave up 12 base runners in 5 innings. That's over 2 base runners an inning.
Yeah, no,
And only gave up 2 runs.
yeah, no, the Blue Jays just couldn't put it together. I think they were a little discouraged being down 6-0, and having to climb out of that hole. But the Blue Jays are a great team, and that's what I feel a little bit more accomplished about. The Reds are a good team. Okay, and being able to win that series was awesome. Blue Jays are a great team. We're going to see them kind of fighting for it in September. So to be able to kind of have a one up on them and then only have to play them one more time in May, I'm like, thank you, get them out of the way. I'm very excited for that. But heading into Boston, 12 and 10, really just making do with what we have. We have a couple issues. We're missing 2 position players that are starters. We're missing George Kirby, who an update on him. It looks like late May to early June instead of our early projection of early May. But it looks like Emerson has really solidified himself as the 5th starter there with a great start against Cincinnati. Now, we're not going to go ahead and lock him in there, but we need to, realize that George Kirby is not going to be back as soon as we think. And there's really no notes about his injury. It's just he needs time to adjust because you don't want him to hurt himself in his first start.
Yeah, this is probably considering the injury luck and how bleak things looked to start the year after the first week or two. Um, this is like the best case scenario of this team 22 games in. It's amazing. The total vibe shift of this team. The offense has picked it up. The pitching has looked fine. Um, Ben Williamson coming up, providing a spark, just emotionally. Dylan Moore just putting the team on his back. Rowdy Tellez in Toronto putting the team on his back. Cal going nuclear. Everything is going the Mariners' way right now, and it feels great. Obviously, this kind of play isn't very sustainable. Um, we're gonna need a couple other guys in the lineup to kind of help out a little.
For sure.
Um, I'm not worried about the pitching in the slightest. I think Emerson Hancock is going to have his good games. He's going to have his bad games. I think the rest of the rotation, assuming health, they're gonna look good. They're going to be at minimum above average. And if this again, like last episode, if this offense just picks it up a little bit, they are going to be very dangerous.
Right, in a
And
very winnable division. The AL West
mhm.
is not looking great out of the gates. I know the Angels are exceeding their expectations. The Athletics just called up their top prospect, Nick Kurtz, so it's like a little gulp. But I
Nice
like,
enunciation.
is that what his name is? Or yeah, I had to kind of space it out. Nick Kurtz. It'll be interesting to see where he'll play in the field, maybe DH. But yeah, I mean we're rolling with the punches in a very winnable division. We got 140 games to go. To put in perspective, we have a lot more of the season left, and we're only going to get healthier, pending, fingers crossed, knock on wood. We'll see what we have Boston, then we have Miami coming up, and we'll probably record after that. But my final thoughts are, the Mariners are rolling. It's been a lot of fun. I always kind of view the road trips as let's try to win as many series as possible, and we did that. So I really hope we can try to bring that luck into Boston, and let's just sneak out with a win. It's going to be hard to win 5 series in a row, so I really just not want to get swept in Boston. I know they're a great team, and it's going to be hard in Fenway. But yeah, I'm excited. The vibes have shifted, and I'm kind of pissed they don't play today.
Yeah, yeah, I want to keep this rolling. Are we gonna? I think we're gonna avoid Garrett Crochet. Is that
Yeah,
accurate?
let's take a look at the. I'll take a look at the probables here. Yeah, but
Because a dominant lefty means we're gonna get two hits the whole game,
or
and they're
win,
both gonna be from Dylan Moore.
or just win the damn game like we did against Tariq Skubal. Let's take a look at the pitching probables here. All righty. So on Tuesday, we got Bryce Miller versus Brian Bayo. So someone we're a little bit familiar with. On Wednesday, we have wow, we have an all-timer on Wednesday. Emerson Angog versus Sean Newcomb. Okay,
Boy,
so that'll be an
oh
offensive
gosh,
affair.
that freaking the Green Monster is gonna get peppered that day.
I have bad news. We unfortunately do
Oh, dang
not.
it.
Oh my gosh. Minnesota, oh, sorry, really quick, off topic before we end the show. The Chicago White Sox play at the Minnesota Twins at 11:10 in the morning Mountain Time on MLB Network. Shane Smith versus Chris Paddock. Can you guess how low a ticket can be for that game?
$1.
$2. We could go to the game for $2. We could go to Kansas City at Colorado for $3.
I
What?
know it's amazing. I've seen that. I've looked at like years ago, like you could go to an Angels game for like $1 or two, and I was like, what? Why can't we experience that here in Seattle?
Well, I'm just looking
Minimum
right
it's like
now.
10, $15.
I've gone so off topic here, and I apologize. But Logan Gilbert, Cal Quantrill on a Friday night in Seattle, we can get a ticket as low as $6. What the hell is that?
Ah, it's sick. Maybe we should move, become fans of a team that sells tickets for $2.
My gosh, you can go almost go to the weekend for $40. Anyway, we unfortunately do not run from Garrett Crochet. We will face him on the
Mm,
getaway day at 11:35 Mountain. Brian Wu will be going against Garrett Crochet. Will
that'll
be
be fun. That'll
um,
be a lot of fun.
in that game, you can go to $22. The Red Sox are price
Ah.
gouging you on a Thursday afternoon. But that's all we have for our show. Any predictions for the next couple series? How we combat the Red Sox and then the lovely Miami Marlins, who will probably give us hell.
I'm expecting us to look good. I don't know if I'll predict us to like burn the world down or anything. Fenway is a weird, weird ballpark to play baseball in, so anything can happen. We played some weird games there.
Very weird.
Uh, yeah, I don't know. I just think we're gonna look good. I don't want to predict wins or anything. But we're gonna look like a good baseball team over the next two series. I think we're gonna continue this mojo. I want to also say that my bold my bold statement right now is that the Mariners are the third best team in the American League. I will say that.
Whoa, that is bold. We went from which starting pitcher are we going to trade at the deadline to your Seattle Mariners, the
If there was a clause to that, if the offense doesn't pick it up, and they have, which is fantastic.
very true. Well,
Third best team.
we're gonna look forward to a couple great series. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, go Mariners.
Go Mariners.